Hi, FlossTube. This is like take 5. I am having a hard time keeping myself centered in my phone. I don't actually have official video equipment. Anyway, this is my FlossTube #1 and Maynia plans video. I have been watching FlossTube for a couple, maybe 3 months now, and I want to join the conversation. I just feel like I'm getting to know you guys, and I want to contribute too. So anyway, my name's Gail. I'm filming here in near Huntsville, Alabama. I've been stitching since 1990. I did some crochet and, like a brownies. In brownies, we stitched a little stuffed rabbit. I mean, I remember these things from when I was a kid, but when I was really introduced to cross stitch I was living in Berkeley, California. I had just graduated from college, and a good friend took me to, I think the store may have been called Lacis, which it was a beautiful store, and introduced me to the idea of cross stitch. I picked as my first pattern a lavender and lace project on black Aida. Well, I couldn't see the holes. I kind of gave up on it. But I would stitch little things here and there, and kind of kept up with it. And then in 2012, I really picked it back up to create some Christmas gifts. And my daughter had finally gotten old enough that I could have a hobby again. And so I went to my LNS, and I was Patches and Stitches, and I was awed by all the things there. And I picked up something I'll show you later to work on as a birth announcement. And while I was at Patches, they had quilting classes advertised, and that was something I always had wanted to learn how to do. And so in early 2013, I took a quilting class, and that just sucked me into quilting for the last several years. And I'm still interested in quilting. I still quilt, but I am, I found FlossTube about a year ago. Or maybe just over a year ago, I was looking for podcasts, and I found Fiber Talk by Gary Parr. And as a result of listening to him and Christine Williams, I found out about FlossTube, and I started watching FlossTube, and I was just like, oh, I remember cross stitch. I love cross stitch. And I started pulling out old projects, and then I found that there was a cross stitch class on Craftsy, and so my first finish for after years and years and years, I've got a few others lying around the house, but this is my most recent, is a pincushion that was the bottom motif in the from that class. And here is my little cushion. Isn't it cute? I love it. It's I did it 2/1 on Lugana. I think it's 25 count is my guess. And I love the coverage. And I actually kind of like the fact that it's raised. But anyway, that's because I didn't know any better. I've never really stitched on high count fabrics, but I had picked this up when I was at the attic at Patches and Stitches back in 2012. This little scrap, and so I used it and I loved it. And this is exactly the size I would want for a pincushion I could carry around with me. Anyway, so that was pretty exciting. And anyway, watching you all, I really wanted to join in with Maynia, because after I saw Market, I was like, oh, look at all those Market things. I want to stitch all the things. And then Maynia is this perfect opportunity to start all the things. My ID on YouTube is Magpie Stitcher, because I'm a little bit of a magpie. If I see it, I want to jump in. And I get distracted by shiny things all the time. Anyway, so before I show you cross stitch projects I'm planning on, I will be working on this during Maynia as well. It is an embroidery project from this book, Stitches from the Garden by Kathy Schmitz. I picked it up at the library, and so I love this book. It's totally my style, and I will probably purchase it at some point. Anyway, this is my progress on it to date. Isn't it cute? I just love this bird. Basically birds. I'm into birds. So there's that. And then aftermarket, I went to the local, to Patches and Stitches, and I found this from Market by ABC, Works by ABC, and it's the pink cushion homage to Infinite Variety, 3 centuries of red and white quilts, and that's that big, awesome exhibit they did in New York City back in 2011, I think it was. Anyway, I love this. I am really excited to be stitching it. It's on a high count fabric. It's 1/1. I'm using a silk, but I think it's a little difficult even to see what's going on that fabric, and I don't know, maybe my phone's not up to focusing on it that close. Anyway, so I love this, and I will continue working on it, but it is hard. I'm looking for magnifiers. I don't know exactly what I'm going to get. A lot of the ones I'm looking at, they get kind of pricey. So anyway, I watched a kitten stitcher video, and where she talked about stitching in hand, and I decided to try to practice on, I think this may be 36 count. It's really hard to see the holes in 36 count without good magnification. So this is on hold, but it was kind of cool to see that I could actually do it a little bit. I just don't think that I could accurately follow a chart yet, without really being able to see better. And who knows, it just may be that my eyes aren't going to be able to do it. Anyway, before I picked this up, I was at the attic, and because my parents live in Chandler, Arizona, and so the attic is just a hop, skip, and a jump. And unfortunately, I only got to spend like an hour and a half there. I got super excited by it, though. I want to plan a trip where I'm visiting my parents, but really? I'm going to the attic. Anyway, so this is a 56 count piece of Kingston cream linen. Wow, really can't see the holes on that. Anyway, at Patches. Oh no, I got this at the attic. Oh, cool. This is a pattern by Plum Street called Cotton Bird. Okay, birds. And my subdivision here is across the street from a cotton gin. We have cotton everywhere. Cotton just flying in the air for months and months. So I had to get that. And then this, and these are all my Maynia starts. I think I may have already mentioned that. Okay. This was really interesting. This is Plum Street Samplers Blue Skin, which I thought was a really odd name for a pattern. So I Googled, and I discovered that George Washington's horse was named Blueskin. I am going to love stitching this. And apparently his ability as a cavalryman really contributed to us being able to become the United States. So I just love that, and I have nothing, stitchy that's 4th of July related. So I've got this mostly kitted up with the fancy flosses, except the red. I did not like the red that was in called for. I can't remember what it was. So I'm going to probably pick something that's maybe a little bit of a bluer red from my stash of threads. Anyway, I see so many patterns that I love when you all are showing your patterns. Mostly, I don't get them because otherwise I would really have broken my piggy bank by now. But this one was free, and I can't remember who had it on their channel. It might have been Stitch All the Things, whose name I can't Teresa, maybe? I don't remember exactly. But anyway, isn't this cute? OMG, and it's free! So I really wanted to do this for Easter. I didn't get to it, but I will make this one of my Maynia starts. I mean, wow. Then I love these patterns from Sue Hillis. I picked up this book 2, and I will start one of these during Maynia. I don't know which one yet. And Okay, so back in 2012, I found, while I was at Patches, this sampler and antique needlework magazine. And oh wow, I love this purse on the front. I'll probably try to make that someday. But the pattern inside that I decided to do is the 1821 Matilda Benton sampler, because the title of the verse is The Child's Guardian, and I was looking for something to turn into a birth announcement. So I worked on this. I recharted all of this, but I didn't understand, again, that on linen you're supposed to go over 2, so I went over 1. So a lot of this is over 1 and maybe shouldn't be, but I made some significant progress on it before I put it down. I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. I don't know if you can actually see this because I have a small phone and a small... I can't really tell if you can see. Anyway, I'm loving working on this again. And so I didn't also understand how uneven, because these were kids who were doing these samplers, how uneven samplers can be. And I didn't correct any of the mistakes. So I am not sure that I will actually give it to my my sister. I might. I mean, my nephew is 5 now, though, so... Anyway, okay. Because Magpie. Here is one of the other things I got at the attic. It's called 1806 Manor House Sewing Roll. Oh, so cute! Uh-oh. There. So cute! I love all things stitchy, especially if I can use them. So that's why I turned this into a pincushion. The idea of making a sewing roll, oh, I love it, love it, love it. Okay. So then, this was really cool. So back when I was listening to Fiber Talk the first time around, I won the Anne and Isabella Uffendell cards that were a giveaway one month, and there are motifs on here, so I'm planning on making these part of my Maynia starts. So for Anne, it's this motif here, okay, and I mean, wow, I just love that. And then on Isabella, it's this motif here with little birdies and a little dog. I mean, it's just precious. So love that. And then the final thing I picked up at the attic is Miss Lucy Calcutt 1826. Oh my gosh, love it. But the whole thing with magnification, though, I mean, I feel like I really ought to do this on a linen just because of the look, but I was considering maybe doing it like on a 25 count Lugana, and just doing it over 1. And either 2/1 or 1/1, because it would make it a good size. You know, it wouldn't be ginormous, and I would be able to see the holes. So I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. Like I said, working on the whole magnifier idea. Anyway, so the history of stitching is so appealing to me, and the idea that I am doing something that women have been doing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years just really attracts me. And I'm always looking for used books. I love picking up reference books, you know, at our friends of the library or somewhere used. To me, these books are precious, and I'm, you know, with the way our publishing industry is, it worries me that a lot of these books won't be continued. You know, that we won't be continuing to create these wonderful volumes. Anyway, so this one I found for $2 at my friends of the library, and it is a book about antique samplers from the Fitzwilliam Museum's collection. And holy cow, guys, I mean, really? Look at this. Look at this! I mean, look, look. Oh, it's so sad that whoever had owned this, someone purchased this at Hampton Court Palace in England, May 1998. That was the month I got married. I mean, really? Love it. So I was looking at that, and I picked this up for $5. Came from England. Usually, if you look for this book, it's one of those books that they'll price really high, like, $200, whatever. I'll never buy a book for that. But this book was mentioned in the book from the Fitzwilliam Museum because this woman, Everil Colby, did a lot of research on the development of motifs and how stitching evolved. And, very detailed history. A lot of it's in black and white. It's not nearly as beautiful to look at, but it's chock full of information. Anyway, looking at those two books, that made me realize when Lucy Navier came out that, oh, she was something special. This is so painterly. I will love stitching this when I get to it. It's going to be probably a couple of years before I think my skills are going to be ready to tackle it. Wow, look at all those French knots. But, this center tree here is full of French knots. At any rate, I love it. It's beautiful. The chart is gorgeous. I will definitely be able to follow it when I get to it. And looking through these books, I realized how unusual this kind of perspective is in a sampler. And this verse, I mean, I'm a mental health counselor, and I just love this. Softly fall the healing sound. I like the dewdrop on the ground. Drooping plants shall soon revive. Faith in bud begin to thrive, and enlarged shall soon disclose beauties of the full-blown rose. I mean, I love this. So very excited. Thank you, Nicola Parkman, for, doing the hard work of that sampler. Anyway, so that's a future Maynia start, or maybe just a future start somewhere down the road. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm so new at this. You give me any comments. I am totally open to feedback. And thanks to everyone that has put in all of the effort it takes to put on these videos, because I have enjoyed watching you guys so much. All right, take care. Till next time.